Welcome back to the show. We are honored to have Dr. Fred D. Domenico joining us here. He's also from Elite Chiropractic Coaching and Healed, right? HEALED. So excited to talk to him. He's from beautiful Newport Beach, California. I'm jealous of that and his tan right off the bat, but really excited to find out about you, the work you're doing, and how you're teaching other doctors as well about the human body and everything connected to it. So thank you so much for being here. How are you today?
Pleasure's mine. Great. I'm excited to be here and share a great story that I think will inspire other people, as well as, you have guests on here that are making differences in the world. So I appreciate that I was invited to be a guest.
Well, we are excited that you're here. And for those that may not know a little about you, I know it's going to be a long story because I need a little bit of your backstory. How you got to California. I need to know how you became a doctor. And tell me a little bit of your backstory. Everyone has one, and it's important, I think, to know before we talk about the work that you're currently doing.
Well, I would say I'll make this short, but I remember, my grandparents were immigrants from Italy. They barely spoke English. So one summer day, I was like 7 years old and living in Philadelphia, and I was in the front lawn. I was in my grandparents' front lawn. I saw my grandfather there in his guinea tee, sitting on the porch. My
Yes.
grandmother yelling Italian at him like she always did through the window, and he's just trying to take a nap. And I remember he was 73 years old. And I looked at him and I had this moment, we have these moments where the whole universe comes into that second. And I said, I wonder what's going through his mind. And then I thought, when I'm that age, I want the world to be different. And so I
Yeah.
felt like I had this innate purpose, although you're seven, you have no idea what it is. And then you run off playing, and la 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 la. And so I always felt, and then there's a Psalm 139:16, and it says, "You knew my days before they were formed." And
Um,
so this is part of the healed system, it's like imagine you're in the spirit world, you're with heaven, you're seeing a trailer, movie trailer of the life that you're gonna live, and you're like, put me in, coach, and it's like, your spirit comes in and we have this soul purpose that is already in us. And that's probably that moment. And I grew up with a mom that was an RN. I mean, shoot, if you scratched,
oh,
picked your nose too many times, she gave you an antibiotic.
yep. Ditto.
And I always hated taking drugs. I just didn't believe in it. But yet, people would always come to me with their health problems and injuries. I'm like, what are you coming to me for? I'm 17. I don't know anything about this.
Ah,
But here it is, like the world is showing me I was supposed to bring healthcare. And so I was pre-med and undergraduate, and I'm like, I don't like drugs or surgery. I don't want to do that. And I'm thinking, you know what? I'm not very good at fine motor movements, man. You put a scalpel in my hand, some people are going to get injured. I'm good. Run over there and hit that dude as hard as you
yeah,
can, like
right,
football
right.
or wrestling,
Uh-huh.
And so I got a pamphlet from chiropractic school,
Wow.
and I didn't know what chiropractic was. I'm like, chiropractors are stupid. They don't know anything. And I throw it away, and they got another one. In the meantime, I'm praying, God, show me my purpose. Show me my
And
purpose.
here you are. Go figure.
Yeah. And then I get another one, and I'm like, chiropractors are dumb. And then I get a third one, and I know when I'm praying for something and I get three signs, God's talking to me. And so I applied for chiropractic school. And on my interview on the way in, I said, I have no idea what chiropractic is, but God told me I'm supposed to be a chiropractor and I'm going to do something great. And so I went
Beautiful.
to chiropractic school, and then I figured out why, which is I always gravitated towards natural health. Spinal cord and nervous system are the foundation of life and health of the body. Spinal cord is your lifeline, carries energy to the organs. Spinal structure determines how much stress in the spinal cord, how much energy goes through there, and can determine health and disease. So when I found that, I'm like, oh my God, man, we need to change the healthcare system all
Uh,
around.
wow.
And
Well,
that became my purpose. So
oh my goodness.
So I had people that would come, blind eyes, I'd adjust them, their vision would come back, deaf ears, diabetes would go away, MS. I had cancer tumors go away, uterine tumors, fibroids, like you name it, people off their blood pressure medication, thyroid. And so I began to teach people this, and then I started to see generations this became their healthcare system, and they were bringing their kids, and their kids' allergies went away, and deaf ears and diseases. And so then it's like, I need to train doctors because they're not setting up what I'm setting up.
Wow.
So that's the whole backstory. And that leads to where we are today. RFK Jr. now is the Secretary of Health and Human Services. And all these things that I've been on my orange crate shouting from a megaphone for 36 years,
Finally.
people are learning the truth that medicine isn't what you think it is. It is the number one crisis care system in the world. So you're in the best country to save your life, man. If I was a life-threatening situation, take me to ER. But for health, run the other way. We're one of the worst countries in health.
Oh, my goodness, amazing. So you are really you're connecting, I mean, medicine with the more of the spiritual side. I like how both sides are coming together finally, in a sense, right? Because it's
Absolutely.
not just separate anymore. So you're helping people with getting to that source, as you say, right, of health, disease. And tell me about this energy in the nervous system and all, and what's happening today, because there's so much to talk about. And your training, how you're training others and doctors, and how they're tapping into pain, even that was from the past. And okay, explain this. Amazing.
Oh, well, first, start with physical healing, obviously. Now, the reality is this is a universal law. Energy has to get to matter. Like, see this meat suit we're in? That matter has to have energy to keep it alive. That energy comes through the spinal cord and through the nervous system. So if your spine's out of alignment, it causes physical stress. Now, I wrote a book, you can get it on Amazon. It's called The Best Kept Secret to Heal Your Back Pain. Medicine has known the relationship between spinal structure, posture, and health for over 100 years.
You can't see my chair. I have a good chair, but
Yeah.
I'm always hunched over. And I know you're judging me. And yeah, I
No,
have
I'm
that
not.
nice chair. You can't see it, the ergonomic. It doesn't matter. I sit hunched. Sorry, go ahead. Wait, so
Yeah.
we've known this, and you're telling me they're not, they've been lying.
Well, there's tons of studies that show the relationship between spinal structure and the causes of the most common 20 diseases that the highest amount of people are dying from in this country. And it shows a direct correlation. Now, the problem is there's a number of problems. I mean, we see all the videos on dyes, and a lot of things are coming about vaccination and all that. But let's just go with what we're talking about. We're in a flexion distorted society. We look at our phones, we drive on cars, we lay on the couches, you sleep on two pillows.
Mouse.
What?
My carpal tunnel from like the mouse and being on the phone, my hands,
Yeah, so what happens is when we're in a flexion distorted society, we traction, we stretch spinal cord, shuts the energy down. So this flexion lifestyle that we live in is causing disease and early death. There are teenagers now are showing signs of degenerative spinal conditions that most people didn't get until their mid 40s, early 50s. And they're
wow.
showing that now in teenage and young adults. You're
Ah,
seeing this is the first generation that is not expected to outlive their parents. That's intense.
that's, I've never heard of that. Wow.
So
Flabbergasted. Okay.
yeah, so now when getting an extension, putting your spine into extension and opposing those flexion forces, your life is dependent on it. So one of the things we have in that book, Best Kept Secret to Heal Your Back Pain, are the 5 10s. Here's things you can do every day to reverse that type of posture. Now, I mean, there's a lot of other things. So we get, God made us perfect already. He gave us an immune system. And there's studies in the Lancet, it's one of the most common, highest rated medical research journals. They show a
Wow.
direct relationship between the function of your nervous system and the function of your immune system.
Ah,
So your nervous system tells your immune system what to do.
oh my
So if
goodness.
you don't have a healthy
Ah.
spinal cord or you don't have a healthy spine, your immune system won't work right.
Ah.
And that's what protects us from disease. So when we go back to those three cursed letters of the last
Mm-hmm.
4 years, COVID, it was all so ridiculous because of the hundreds of doctors that I've coached, that's tens of thousands of patients around the world. I didn't have one person die of COVID, not one
Wow.
individual die of COVID. Some patients got sick, most of them didn't even get sick. And even when they took the vaccination, there was one patient in tens of thousands that died to secondary side effects.
Whoa.
Only one. Now there's people all over the world that died of that vaccination. The problem is, what did they do? They call it a heart attack. Well, what was it? Clotting from the secondary results. They call it a stroke. They call
Ah.
it liver failure. They call it all these things, but a lot of these things were secondary. And now we're seeing all these young adults with cancers, stage 4 breast cancer in a 24-year-old woman that's never been seen before. So here we're getting into don't inject stuff when God made you perfect. You just have to enhance what he already gave you.
Oh my goodness. I'm guilty. Look, I have an 8 and 10-year-old, two little boys, and back then they were like, what, 5 and 7 or 4 and 6. And I didn't want to get the vaccinations, but I'm like, we had a trip coming up, so I had to. Then I felt guilty. I knew someone who died from the shot, but of course, not the shot, but it was the underlying. And I'm like, oh my goodness, what did I do? Feeling guilty. And here we are, who knows? Yeah, it's, that's a whole nother conversation. But I'm sorry to interrupt. Continue.
No, that's good. And the thing is, the way your child's spine and nervous system are forming right now will determine their health for the rest of their life. So we see kids that I start adjusting them, and I've x-rayed them at 5 and 8 years old, and their spine's already developing abnormally. And so we correct it, and you see, well, not only that, we don't put any needles in our body because God already gave us everything we need. And that's a whole nother long conversation.
Another episode. That's
But
fine.
what you see is those kids, their intellect is different. They're sharper, they're clearer, they're not as hyperactive. They don't get sick, their allergies go away, whatever. They don't get sick like their friends that aren't under chiropractic care. I've had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of parents with testimonials that their friends get sick and their kids don't. And they used to get sick. They used to have allergies. They used to have ear infections. They used to get recurrent
Yeah.
colds and flus. They used to have asthma, and all of it's gone because there's one foundational problem to all health conditions: energy. Health
Mm-hmm.
conditions are energy, start with energy problems.
Interesting. Interesting.
And that's what medicine isn't telling you, because if they told you that on CNN and ABC and Eyewitness News, pharmaceutical companies are supplying 85% of major media. So the thing
True.
is, there's an agenda, and I know you've been in that profession.
Mm-hmm.
There's
There is an unfortunate, yes, agenda. Absolutely.
So anyway, they have a particular narrative that they want to get out to the public. And I'm not dogging on anybody. I'm just saying, if you want to be healthy, use what God gave you. He made you perfect already. Because
As perfect
anytime we
as we
go
can
against
be.
that, what's
Yeah.
that?
As perfect as we can be, right? We're all given one body, one for whatever reason. We're born sometimes with disabilities or born with ailments, but that's our body. That's what we're given. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let
So
let me ask you this. So hold on. So now here you go, chiropractic school. Okay, become a chiropractor. And when did you now start helping doctors in this field? Were you originally doing regular chiropractic practice as well, and still do,
yeah,
or?
I had 4 practices,
Oh my
but then I
gosh.
noticed a lot of the local doctors were showing up at my clinic and they're going, dude, what are you doing? Like, you're creating people that are different.
Yeah.
And so one day I just, I was one of the busier. I had 4 clinics over 15 years. But and then one day I was like, I'm not going to change healthcare in the world being in this office. So I thought, I prayed, God, I know there's a bigger purpose. And a year and a half later, I was coaching, and I've been doing that for 20 years now.
Oh my goodness. Wow, amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here. We still got plenty more time to talk, and there's still so much more about you that I need I want to find out. So, in particular, you mentioned, you said, let's help people live, right? A thousand dreams, right? Time to transform health now. Fill us in. What's going on in the world now since COVID? I mean, are we living longer? Are we doing the right thing? Are we really eating the wrong food? What should we be doing?
Well, I mean, if you want to address that, it's first of all, if you pay attention, you have to pay attention. So basically, if you do everything opposite of the general public, you're going to be great. If you don't listen to what's on TV, you're going to be great. So, I mean, it's no big secret. There's tons of pesticides all over the foods. I mean, if you want to get into that, first of all, you need energy. Find a great chiropractor. Go to idealspine.com, one of the highest trained chiropractors, idealspine.com. Look under the resources, plug in your zip code, try and find somebody that's near your area. Go to somebody that um, takes x-rays. There's a lot of chiropractors that don't, and they know what they're doing, and they set you up on a program that can change spinal structure. Now, so you got to have energy first. Next thing, don't inject poisons into your body that you don't need. Now, medicine is great at scaring people. Well, there's people that die of measles. It's 2 week infection. The people that die of measles are very, very sick. Like if you have a healthy kid, good sanitation, you're not, chicken pox, measles, mumps, like those things. Are there kids that probably die that have those, and they have other conditions going on? The average kid, it's a 2 week infection and it's permanent immunity. But what you're not getting is you're not getting the formaldehyde. You're not getting a virus that was grown in another animal. And so you're injecting the DNA of animals into your body that seeds you for autoimmune diseases and cancers. You're not getting aluminum, that is a known neurotoxin that will damage your brain more permanently. You're not getting all those things. It's like keep your kid healthy, give them vitamin C. They get a fever, let them rest. Antibiotics probably aren't going to help. And so here's all the things that doctors aren't telling you, because the problem is if they don't vaccinate you and something happens, which is very rare, they get sued. Many pediatricians don't vaccinate their own kids, but they feel they're liable because pharmaceutical companies set it up that way. And so the thing is, they're forced to, even though they may not do it in their own families. And that is very common, but they can't tell you that. And so this is where the narrative of when you look at socialistic, socialized medicine, where the government has to pay for sick people, they don't have the same vaccination record that we have in America. They have very limited vaccinations and different types of vaccinations. Because if we didn't have a for-profit healthcare, the government would go bankrupt with the health of this country. So when you look at other countries, you go to Europe, they don't have the same vaccination requirements. They have to label GMO foods. It's a lot different because sick people will bankrupt the country. So they have very different laws and regulations. Everything in America is so somebody can put money in their wallet. And that's the basic underlying truth.
Oh my goodness. Wow. A lot of new shocking information I think people are learning, including myself. Sad. Some of it's really sad, right? And you just think you go to professionals to be treated to where, your health priority number one. And then it's just sad to hear that some people are in it for the money and not for the right reasons to help people. It's just devastating. Okay, but we are not
Now,
that.
this isn't, I'm not saying anything against medical doctor.
No, no,
It's the
no.
paradigm and who's driving them. Because if they teach anything differently, they lose their license. Doctors become doctors to help people, and that's why so many docs after COVID have quit. And now there's a whole movement of doctors going into healthy lifestyle, where there's a transition. Why? Because they saw what was happening. They have good hearts and they want to help people, but it's the paradigm, it's the business model. So
Wow.
now there's maybe some people say, well, you're a conspiracy theorist. Well, it's not a theory if it's proven by fact.
Yeah.
And that you're not allowed to censor on social media. Shoot, and maybe it's because people I follow, but there's so much being exposed right now. Now, people could say, well, social media is a bunch of lies. Well, when you got doctors citing studies, I don't know, and there's tons of medical research. So anyway, so the thing is, I think those are for people that don't want to believe that humanity has the potential to be that cruel. Humans in general are very loving. Humans are amazing. God made us great.
Yeah.
When we run our life based on the conditions of the world, we certainly can make thinking errors.
Well, let me also ask, as a coach, and you're helping so many, getting, their health back. And I was also reading before that you have these boot camps that you do. I mean, you have something coming up. I think it was it next month or something.
In
What's,
June, it's for chiropractors.
yeah,
Yeah.
what else are you doing?
Well, obviously, we do seminars to train them, but a whole nother thing is this was divinely downloaded, was a six-step system. It's called Healed. And I'm not smart enough to think of this. This was definitely a divine download. You know, 93% of the people in America don't know their purpose. Like
Yeah.
you have a purpose in your life. You're doing this and you're bringing messages out to the world. And the fact that I'm saying this might, be a little adverse to some. But I believe we all come here with a purpose. And
Yeah.
most people don't know what that purpose is. Ralph Waldo Emerson says two best days of your life, one when you're born, the second one when you figure out why you're here. Right? And those
Yeah.
people live the most fulfilling lives. People that are living their purpose, they're healthier, they live longer. If trials come in their life, they don't stay depressed as long. People with a spiritual foundation tend to be happier. If you have a spiritual foundation and you're living your purpose, you're more fulfilled. You tend to have more joy. You get through challenges faster. You can still run into challenges, but you don't stay there. They have less depression, less anxiety, and you're living a more heart-filled, fulfilling life. So healed is help you tap into who did God create you to be? One, then learn to let go of your past, all the pains in your past. See how everything in your life is guiding you in a direction. And sometimes the greatest pains
Yeah.
lead us to our greatest purpose.
So true.
And the greatest pain can lead you to your greatest love. And so then when you clear out all the past and you get rid of all that emotional noise, then you can
Negativity.
be present. You can hear the whispers of God, hear the whispers of your spirit, and then your divine calling will come to you. Now, when that time happened for me, the healed acronym fell on me, and I started having these visions of what it
Wow.
was. And I had no idea. I just came up with an acronym. I didn't come up with it, but it was downloaded.
Uh-huh.
And then I started writing a book. There's a best-selling book out there. It's called You Are More Powerful Than You Think. It takes you through the healed system. I have a whole online program. I'm doing an event
Awesome.
this weekend in Atlanta to take a small group of people through spiritual breakthroughs. And what it does is it helps you tap in. I would say the biggest thing people notice is now they
Yep.
can live with inner peace.
Got it. Beautifully
It,
said.
you become a more clear version. You don't become different. You let go of so much stuff that you become a more clear version of your higher self, who God created you to be. And then all of a sudden you see the world, you begin to see heaven on earth. It changes your perspective. Of course, we still have a human experience. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like a hologram, like we used to get, I'm older than you are, in a Cracker Jack box way back when.
I, I'm 47. I remember Cracker Jack box. I love them, and I miss.
Yeah.
They were so cool with the toy.
Yeah, so it's like when you're operating in your humanity and you're pissed and this sucks and I'm a victim, what it does is it gives
Yeah.
you the ability. You're not the hologram changing from your humanity to your divinity. You learn to be the hand that changes it.
So
So
true.
you actually gain power to be able to move from any human condition into who God created you to be, um, through that system. It
Got it.
changed your whole life.
Wow. Well, unfortunately, Dr. Fred, we are out of time. We have to say goodbye and close down,
All right.
but it's been a pleasure getting to know you and the work you're doing and why. And, I'm hoping I know you are, and will continue to inspire people. Thank you for being here.
Hey, thank you so much. I know I went on a bunch. So,
It's
yeah,
fine.
we'll talk again.
Okay, how can we reach out to you?
Well, you can go to the Healed System. My email, Dr. Fred, DRFRED 1 at MSN.com, Dr. Fred 1 at MSN.com. My phone number is 425-765-3454. You can email me, call me, go to the website, elitecoachingllc.com.
Perfect. All right.
Yeah,
Thank you
give it
so
a
much.
Google.
Pleasure getting to know you and looking
Yeah,
forward to the next time we get to connect. Okay. Have a fantastic
thank
day.
you so
Enjoy the
much.
beautiful weather in
Appreciate
California. I'm jealous.
appreciate.
We'll talk soon. Bye
Thanks so
bye.
much.